Welcome to part 2 of this 3-part presentation on what happens after you prepare and submit your article or proposal to an academic publisher. In this part, I cover reviewing contracts. I'll be reviewing boilerplate contracts, copyright regulations, non-compete clauses, and plagiarism checking software. A publishing contract, also called a publishing agreement or contributor agreement, is a legal document that sets out the terms for the publisher to publish your work and what obligations each party has. These contracts can be long, for example, up to 20 pages long, with a lot of legal jargon and phrases that authors may not understand. Many publishing contracts are exploitative and expect you to sign away many of your rights with little to no compensation. There is often the expectation that you will sign a standard or boilerplate contract or a copyright transfer statement without any room for negotiation. And because it is so common for academics to sign such contracts without any protest, you may have no leverage to negotiate. But you can always try to politely negotiate changes in some terms. In a book proposal, for example, the publisher may be willing to change the word count, royalty schedule, submission date, control over cover design and art, or other things. If you don't ask, you won't know how flexible they are. You can also try to use an author addendum to modify copyright agreements and get expert legal advice and assistance in reviewing contracts through an author membership group such as the Authors Guild. The Guild also offers a model book contract that explains common legal phrases used in publishing contracts and where publishers are often the most exploitative. Here's some examples of language in a publishing contract. I warrant that this article is my original work and is not currently under consideration by any other publisher. I agree to review proofs of the article and return them promptly, and if I do not, the publisher can take them as approved. I assert my moral right to be identified as the author of the article. I retain the right to be identified as the author of the article. Copyright regulations are a complicated issue, but are important for you as an author to understand. A basic definition of copyright is the exclusive legal right to reproduce, publish, sell, or distribute the matter and form of something, such as a literary, musical, or artistic work. Copyright is part of your intellectual property, or IP, in work you create. In general, you hold the IP right to your content unless you give it away via an agreement such as an employment or publishing contract. Note that copyright periods, regulations, and enforcement vary from country to country, so may be different where you live. Many publishing contracts require you to give your copyright to the publisher for the full period of copyright. In the US and EU, for example, this would generally be the life of the author plus 70 years, so it's a long time. Here's some examples of copyright transfer language in a publishing contract. I assign copyright in my article to the publisher and all publishing rights in all forms and media, now and in the future, in all languages, for the full period of copyright throughout the world. I grant to the publisher exclusive rights for the full period of copyright to reproduce and distribute my article in any medium throughout the world. By submitting this article, I agree to transfer the rights to publish and sell it in any medium to the publisher. In publishing agreements for books, you may find a non-compete clause that tries to restrict you from writing anything that might be competition for the book that the publisher has agreed to publish. Author advocacy groups recommend trying to remove or limit this clause from contracts, since it can be so widely interpreted and last for the entire term of the agreement. Here's some examples of non-compete language. The author agrees not to write or contribute to any material of such a nature that it is likely to compete with the book. The author agrees not to publish other works that might directly compete with the book or be likely to injure the sales of the book. The publisher may also want to check for copied or improperly referenced material by first submitting your work to plagiarism checking software, for example, Turnitin. If you have previously published portions of your writing online, such as in a blog or institutional repository, this could become an issue of self-plagiarism. So you may want to inform them in advance to avoid surprises and explain the situation. Check out the next video in this series for part 3, Working with Open Access.